So, John, what activity would you miss most if you lost the bottom half of your body?
If I lost the entire bottom half of my body?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, aside from the obvious.
Mm-hmm. Your dancing feet.
Well, yes, that's that's what I was building to. Aside from the obvious, I feel like my river dancing days would be behind me.
Okay, yeah, that would be a sad time. We've all enjoyed a merry old dance.
Yes, we have, yeah. Feet of flames, yeah. I was the only male lead I was the Michael Flatley of my primary school, I'll have you know.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that was when Riverdance hit, mid-90s. I was about 8 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was part of a whole choreographed production. We did a whole Riverdance routine, and I was the only boy.
Wow.
Which made me de facto Michael Flatley of the group.
Why were there no other boys?
I think they
Did you go to an all-girls school?
No, there were many other boys. They just didn't want to do Riverdance, but I was like, sure, I'll take that spotlight. You just couldn't keep me down. My talent was just too big.
All right, okay.
My feet were on flames. I was the lord of the dance.
Okay, but where did that talent go?
It's still in there. Just hide it under a bushel a bit now. Yeah.
Thanks. Please keep it there.
Some films are fine just the way they are. Other films sometimes take it way too far. But really, how bad could it get? Let's go beyond the box set.
Welcome everybody to Beyond the Box Set, the podcast where today we're pitching prequels, sequels and spin-offs to Wiki Wiki Wow. Wiki Wiki Wow.
Okay, so there's your first drink. How long did it take one of us to get to making that noise in this podcast?
That's what this film's called, isn't it?
Well, yeah, sure. I was going to take the high road and not mention it, but
Great.
Sure.
We'll also be pitching some drinking games and hearing from my listeners with the submissions they've posted on Facebook and Twitter. But first, we're going to talk about some of our favourite moments and go a bit of a plot summary. I am Harry, the host with the most drag experience.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we can all agree on that. And joining me as always, the host who's most likely to lose the bottom half of his body in an accident and try to take over the world as some sort of revenge, is John Lucas.
It's my dream. Yeah. Manifest destiny, baby.
Yeah. So this is the first episode in a season that I am naming The Pursuit of Happiness.
The Pursuit of Happiness. I mean, when did you come up with that?
When I listened to the Weekly Planet a few years ago.
Oh, so it's their joke, but
Yeah.
you'll react. I was going to say that's very clever.
I would love to pass it off as my own joke, but
well, good on you for being honest. But...
Wild Wild West.
Wild Wild West. Had you seen this before?
Yeah, quite a while ago, so I didn't remember all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I remembered how insane it is.
Yeah, I mean, the intricacies of the plot are not really worth remembering, particularly, because they don't exist.
Yeah.
This is my first time watching this.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I knew that this was like a bad movie, like an infamous bad movie. I didn't expect it to be so incoherently insane.
I didn't think this movie was awful. Like, I didn't think it was great, don't get me wrong. And, like, I'm well aware that it had a ridiculous budget for what turned out.
Yeah, I mean, God, yeah, you could just watch somebody burning dollar bills on a screen and have basically the same effect. Like,
but this didn't feel like an absolute train wreck to me.
oh, I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, strong disagree. This was absolute mess for me.
Yeah.
The main thought I had watching this was I would love to have been a fly on the wall during the editing process of this film.
Yeah.
Like when somebody was given all of the footage, because it just felt to me like they just threw the hands up and gave up. And were like, guys, I have nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you have just given me a bunch of random scenes. I cannot turn this into a story. Like, because this film, it's so bizarrely edited. It makes no sense. Like, not one lick of sense does this movie make. Good luck with the plot summary.
Thanks.
Seriously.
Thanks.
Like, I don't even know where you're going to begin and end with that. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't bored, but there was definitely a point about maybe 20 minutes to half an hour in when I disengaged. When I was just like, attempting to follow this is a fool's errand. So I'm just going to let it happen, and I'm going to just look out for memorable moments, because there's no plot in this movie. So why even try and there's no personalities, there's no characters, so there's nothing to follow here. So I just kind of, at that point, I just kind of gave up.
Yeah.
But I still watched it, but I was just like, I don't need to give this all of my attention. Because God knows nobody else did in the making of it.
No.
Yeah.
I still kind of enjoyed it. And me and Louise made it most of the way through before we lost attention. And it was when near the end when Kenneth Branagh does a monologue that goes on for just a bit too long.
I mean, which one? That's his entire character.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. The funny thing is, when this film came out, I do have a strong memory of this film coming out. 1999, I think it was. Because
it was about the time of the millennium.
it was definitely this era of Will Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he was on top of the world. This was like peak Will Smith. Just off Men in Black, I think that was the year before.
Independence Day just before that.
Independence Day, yeah, exactly. He'd had all these big hits. And at the time, I was 13, so I wasn't really following the box office grosses like that. I wasn't like as much of a nerd of that as I am today. So it took me a few years to realize that this film was a huge, like, infamous flop.
Yeah.
Because at the time, even though I never saw the film because I had no interest in it, but the song Wild Wild West was a huge hit and it was everywhere and it was around forever.
Yeah.
So I just assumed because the song was so big, the film must have been a big hit too. And then years later, obviously, it turned out no, absolutely not the case. And it's funny watching it back now. The song has nothing to do with the film at all. Like they're just.
I don't really know the lyrics to the song that much.
I don't really mean the lyrics necessarily, but it's just like
I like the style.
It just comes out. Yeah, it really comes out of nowhere. It was at the end of the film. You know, the film ends and I kind of did a deep exhale of breath, just like, whew. And then suddenly it's like,
It's not a long film either.
it's not that long, but it's just like it's just so much.
Yeah.
And then the song kicks in, Wild Wild West. And I was like, oh yeah, that's what this is famous for.
Yeah.
There was a song, but because I guess he wasn't a rapper in Men in Black either.
Character-wise, yeah.
But it just felt like it aligned more. Like it felt like the song from Men in Black was more. It was like a Bond theme, but in a modern twist with a Will Smith twist. And it felt, I don't know. It just felt like it all fit together. Like the song was like branding for the film, and it all was this at the end. I was just like, oh yeah, and there's that. I guess there's that song that's pretty catchy, but it's nothing to do with this film.
No,
it was strange.
Yeah. Shall I get on with the plot summary then?
I mean, Godspeed and good luck to you, but sure.
All right. So we start off in the Old West.
The Old West, the
1860s or whatever it is. And do we start off with Will Smith in a water tank?
Well, I mean, there's a brief cold open where some random guy gets beheaded by a magnet, but we can skip all that. Yeah. But yes, we open with Will Smith.
Yeah, Will Smith. He's in a water tower.
Naked
with some woman who... Well, he's supposed to be working. He's like a US Marshal or something.
Well, why are they having sex in a water tower?
Because it's a romantic place to have sex, John. Come on, live your life.
Come on, is it though? Is it really? Like, not only are they like sat there floating in like room temperature water, it's also, which is also drinking water. So thank you very much, Will Smith. I'm going to be drinking your spunk now. Great, lovely. If I'm living in this village,
you would.
I mean, yeah, sure, but I'm sure not everyone feels that way. But also, like, I did find myself imagining the build up to this scene. So let's say he goes to like some saloon or whatever, he meets a sexy lady, sparks are flying, let's find a place to rock the Casbah. Let's climb up onto a water tower and get into a bunch of, just like tepid water. Evidently very dangerous as well, very unstable water tower. Just floats around there and I didn't understand why he was there.
Just what works for him, I guess.
Okay, sure, I guess, fine.
I don't know.
Also, she's the only other black character in this movie.
Yeah.
There are no other black people in this movie.
Yeah.
Which kind of becomes weird as the movie goes along, but... Anyway,
yes, it does. So, people show up in the town, and while this lady is trying to snog him, he's kind of, like, looking to one side and, like, completely not into it at all.
He's just far too into his job.
Yeah.
Which is what?
A US Marshal or something. So he's basically just, like, I don't know, let's just say sheriff of that town. He's not a sheriff, but, like...
I mean...
He's an authority.
I have questions about that, but we'll talk about it later. Okay, fine, okay.
Yeah, these people come and they're like loading up this horse carriage or whatever, and they're not doing a very good job of it, and they knock over the water tower.
Yes.
Knocking Will into this building that he lands through the roof, completely naked, completely unharmed.
Yeah, the first of many times when I just assumed he was dead.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't seen this movie. He could be a zombie at some point, but no, like,
And... somehow she manages to stay in the water tower.
Yeah, is she just clinging to like...
Yeah, with all the clothes.
I
don't know. But so he's naked in front of these 3 white presumed criminals.
Yes.
Who are all pointing guns at him and just not saying the N-word. They get into the letter N before they get interrupted.
I mean, that's a strong theme of this movie.
Yeah.
I was not expecting this. Of all the things I was expecting this movie to be, the amount of racism really genuinely shocked me.
Yeah, comment on Black history. This is not what I expected.
No.
But yeah, either way, he apprehends them while pretty much naked.
I mean, you fully see his balls for a brief split second.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Waterworld. Like I feel like if any like big star vehicle, sci-fi, action, fantasy, whatever film, if one of the first shots is of our hero's balls from the back, because remember in Waterworld he was peeing into the sea.
Oh yeah.
If that's your first shot, you've not got a good movie.
It worked for Terminator.
Do you see Schwarzenegger's balls?
You see everything swinging around.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe full frontal works, but from behind, not so much. Yeah.
That's the rule.
I feel like, there's definitely some kind of rule here. Yeah.
Sure.
Woo! That was fun. Which one of you boys wants to strip down and go next? Bet you do. Huh? Sure could use some clothes down here, ma'am.
Well, we got us a shiny.
Pants!
Let's see. So, yeah, I guess he apprehends them. I don't know. She throws him enough clothes that he's not actually naked anymore.
Yeah.
And he gets on a horse and carriage, which is running away, and it's carrying like explosives or something.
Sure.
Which there's no explanation for.
No,
As far as I can
that's
tell.
something like in terms of what was his job, what was he guarding, what was he chasing them for, like what was this scenario?
I'm not sure. I think he was tracking down the trumpet ear man,
Okay.
but I'm not 100% on that. But either way, this horse and carriage leads him to a brothel,
A saloon,
or both, whatever.
Same difference, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where we got first introduced to trumpet ear man.
Yes.
While he is picked out the woman of his choice, which he does not realise is very, very clearly a man in a wig. I don't really want to use the phrase drag queen because I don't really feel like this was that.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like Kevin Klein, as much as he was clearly in drag, he was full drag.
But true, yeah, no, it definitely was. But he was still behaving exactly like he wasn't in drag.
I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't fully committed because this film has a big issue with like gay panic humor. But like he was blended. Like his makeup was he'd done his makeup. Like it wasn't a bad female illusion, apart from the fact that he was like 6'2".
Yeah.
It did make me laugh that he's working alongside Salma Hayek.
Yeah.
Who is like one of the most stunning creatures ever to walk this earth.
Wow.
And everyone is just like so uninterested in Salma Hayek. It seems like Kevin Klein in Widow Twanky Drag in Widow Twanky Drag. I can't Twanky Drag. In Widow Twanky Drag. I can't say it.
Twanky drag.
In Widow Twanky Drag is a lot more appealing to these drunk guys than Salma Hayek in like a short skirt and a low cut top, which
That's a great idea for my new passwords.
Twanky Drag.
Yeah, it doesn't really make much sense, but yeah. Either way, Kevin Klein takes that guy up to his up to a bedroom.
So we should say that this is the guy you're talking about. What did you call him? Earhorn guy?
Trumpet ear man.
Trumpet ear man. His name in the film is General Bloodbath McGrath.
Oh yeah.
And he's played by Ted Levine, who's probably best known for playing the killer in Silence of the Lambs.
All right.
Have you seen that film?
Yeah, quite a while ago though.
Yeah, we can't do it because it's got sequels, but one of my favourite films. But he's the, obviously Hannibal Lecter, but then he's the other killer, the one who's like, it puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. Yeah. He's that guy, so yeah.
All right.
But the reason you call him ear trumpet guy is in this movie he's like this battle-scarred general character who has this gross physical deformity where he's got like an ear trumpet, like a phonograph.
I think that the whole side of his face has basically just been burnt off, including his ear. Yeah. And so he has an artificial ear, which is just this weird metal trumpet stuck in the hole in his head.
Yeah. But there's a shot in this saloon scene where he just... and it really turned my stomach. When he turns it like face down and all the gunk comes out of it. Oh, it was gross. Like, who was that for? Who was any of this for? Like,
I didn't really think of it like that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, either way, Kevin Klein takes him up to her bedroom and, starts sort of flirting with him a bit, but he tries to... What, is he trying to get information out of him or trying to kill him?
Yeah, so
or
Kevin
what?
Klein is a secret agent.
Yeah, so he's also a secret agent, just like Will Smith is.
Yes, and his preferred method of infiltrating all of these gangs is to dress up like Widow Twanky and try to seduce,
And do his dwag.
do his dwag. So I don't know why that happened. Rather than infiltrate the gang the traditional way, which would be to just infiltrate the gang, he just defaults to, well, I guess I'll just be a prostitute. So yeah, he takes Bloodbath McGrath upstairs.
Yeah.
But there's a whole scene where, because there's all these women, and you've got Salma Hayek and all these random extras, and they're all lined up together, and Bloodbath McGrath is looking at all of them, and he's like, fuck off, Salma Hayek, I want this beautiful lady, and picks Kevin Klein.
Yeah. Well, I think Kevin Klein does kind of force that decision. Like, Bloodbath McGrath is just about to pick somebody, but then Kevin Klein just basically says, look over there, and then just switches places with them.
I guess, sure.
Yeah,
okay.
and yeah.
Fair enough, fine.
I don't know, takes advantage of a drunk man, basically.
Fair enough, yeah, sure. But yeah, they go upstairs to a bedroom.
Yeah, and well, basically it all gets foiled by, I think, Will Smith coming in and trying to get him as well.
Well,
is it?
Kevin Klein is trying to get information from Bloodbath McGrath.
There's too much plot at this point.
There's too much and also none whatsoever.
Yeah.
But this is where we learn that he's basically, as well as being a drag queen, he's also Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
Because he's got all these gadgets attached to his... He's got a boob boxing glove that he uses to knock out a guy.
Yeah.
And also, underneath that, presumably, he has a boob hypnosis, where it's just two
it was in his
hypnotic...
belt buckle, I think.
Oh, was that in his belt buckle?
Yeah.
Okay. So he takes Bloodbath McGrath up to a room in the saloon, and then he tries to hypnotise him into giving him the information he's looking for, which I think is the location of the scientists that have been kidnapped.
Yeah, that's it. Well done.
Yeah. Bloodbath McGrath, I mean, God, we're reaching it. Bloodbath McGrath has been part of this movement where all these famous scientists are being kidnapped, and Kevin Klein is trying to figure out where they've gone and why they're stealing them.
Yeah.
So he hypnotises him, he starts barking like a dog, it backfires, he tries to attack him, and then Will Smith just happens to be climbing up the window, I don't know why, and saves Kevin Klein, and then what happens?
And then all shit goes to...
The shit hits the fan?
The shit is the fan, yeah. And I don't know, there's a bit of a brawl going on just in the whole building. Well, not like a full-on brawl, which I was really expecting.
Yeah.
Like, it's the Wild Wild West, it's a saloon. All you want is one person to say the wrong word and everybody starts fighting for no reason.
Yeah.
Come on. It's easy. It's an easy joke. But either way, essentially the building pretty much gets evacuated, and then the horse and cart falls into it, and the whole thing blows up.
Well, Kenneth Branagh is outside.
Was he outside at this point?
Yeah, because he was the one who fired the explosive device into the bar.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So Kenneth Branagh comes in, and Kenneth Branagh is this guy who has lost the bottom half of his body, and he's in a wheelchair.
We don't see all of that till later, though. But
I thought we see it right away.
no, he's just like a shadowy figure in a carriage at this point with his three sexy ladies.
Oh, I get mixed up. I thought there was the whole bit where he comes in and just sort of parades around for a bit.
No, that's much later.
Oh, is it? Oh, sorry.
Stick with it, Harry. The plot is integral to this.
I'm doing my best. Well, either way, the building blows up and everybody gets away in some form.
Well, they don't show that. Like this,
But nobody dies, though.
No, but this is what I mean about the weird editing of this movie. So I can't remember why anyone else leaves the bar, but for some reason Kenneth Branagh decides he's going to blow up this pub, this saloon. I don't remember why he thought that was necessary. He did seem like he was no part of what was going on inside.
I think maybe to kill Trumpet Horn guy. Just so that he wouldn't leak that information. That would make sense.
Okay, sure.
I'm just spitballing here.
For whatever reason, he releases a
keg full of explosives.
A keg full of explosives.
Yeah.
Will Smith and Kevin Klein are having a fist fight inside the building, and they see the barrel and they go, "Oh no!" And then there's this giant explosion. The entire saloon blows up like inferno of flames. And at this point, as a viewer, I'm like, "Oh, I wonder how they got out of that one."
Yeah.
We never find out. We just cut to another scene where they're just fine.
Yeah.
There's no explanation of how they escaped from that inferno, what the body count was. Doesn't matter. Now we're just somewhere else.
And so then I think we catch up with Will Smith, and he goes to the president. He goes to the White House.
Yes. Because he's friends with the president.
Well, he's working for the president.
He's working for the president.
So he goes up to the White House, and initially they don't let him in because he's got guns on him. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's not the reason you wouldn't let Will Smith in this time.
Well, that's the thing that
or any time.
That's the thing I was confused about. It's like, there are parts of this film which are so overly obsessed with the whole racism angle.
Like trying to make a statement.
Yeah, trying to be like, oh, it's the 1860s, and as a black man, that means Will Smith's got to listen to all this horrendous racist abuse.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, he's also a US Marshal, but they never explain like how he's risen to that rank as at that point, second-class citizen. Mm-hmm. Also, he's like pals with the president. Mm-hmm. It's all very confusing.
Yeah. Don't know. So anyway, he goes in and he's eventually let into the White House. In fact, fairly quickly, he just kind of like, hey, I've got 2 guns. Oh, okay, you can go in. Mm-hmm. And he meets the president in the Oval Office, and then he's pretty much instantly just like, you're not the president. Mm-hmm. You're, what's his face, Gordon.
Kevin Klein.
Yeah, you're Kevin Klein. And he's like, no, I'm the president. You're Kevin Klein. How did you know? And it turns out that Kevin Klein is currently in disguise as the president when the real president walks in. Mm-hmm. Also played by Kevin Klein.
Which makes it super confusing.
I mean, just get somebody who looks like Kevin Klein.
Well, he's in pretty deep makeup. I thought, is that like Don Johnson or something? But
right, yeah.
It's very confusing that Kevin Klein is playing both of these roles.
Yeah. So no, that was weird. And then the president says, "Great, well now I've got you both here," as though he expected that.
Yeah. Why was Kevin Klein dressed as the president?
I have no idea.
For what purpose did that serve?
Maybe just trying to throw Will Smith off the case.
Just assuming Will Smith would turn up that day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
No, I mean, I'm not actually expecting an answer because this film is meaningless. But, yeah.
But either way, the president gives them both a mission, which is like, find trumpet horn guy. Get it.
Because he's kidnapped all the scientists.
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure was already their mission.
Yes, but he's just reasserted it. It's got presidential approval now, Harry.
Yeah.
It's twice as important.
Okay, sure. And so then they both rush off in their different modes of transport. Will Smith very stylishly rides a horse to the nearby train station, while Gordon gets out a motorbike with a stupid name.
Yes.
But he's invented a motorised penny farthing.
Yes.
I enjoyed. I enjoyed that kind of stuff in this.
I did it. Yeah, the gadgety stuff was fun, but also it made no sense.
Well, yeah. That's pretty what this film is. It's fun, but it makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then after he's overtaken him on the motorbike, after Kevin Klein has overtaken Will Smith on the motorbike, we pretty much then just straight cut to a while later, and they're on a train.
They're on a train.
Like, Will Smith is riding his horse alongside the train, and he's like, "Stop the train!" And Kevin Klein's like, "No," and Will Smith just gets on the train.
Yeah, leaves the horse. Yeah. That horse is gone.
Yep. Literally never in the film again. Yeah, but this train is Kevin Klein's train, and it's full of all kinds of gadgets and weird things, and like trap pool tables and whatever else.
Yeah. Again,
reverse ejector seats.
all of these inventions. I was like, when you were building this, what did you think was going to happen? Like, what purpose does a pool table that only is of any value if someone falls in exactly the right way and then turns upside down so that person is facing the ground while the train is moving?
Well, I mean, you wouldn't have a real pool table on a train, John. How do you play pool? That'd be ridiculous.
Fair enough.
You've not thought this through.
No, I'm not. You're right. Fair enough.
But why would you need a reverse ejector seat when somebody's standing outside and then they just get bounced inside? I
mean, it gets a lot of play. It's get used at least twice in this film.
Yeah, it does. But like, never to... Well, always for people that Kevin Klein doesn't want on the train.
True.
They just accidentally bounce their way into the train. Yeah. It makes no sense. Yeah, and so they're going to go and catch Kenneth Branagh, who is also on his own special mechanised train.
Yes.
And they're trying to catch him up, and they did. In a day or two, after they've settled their differences, basically.
Well, they pull out the head of the guy who got beheaded on the cold open.
Oh, yeah.
And this was strange. So Kevin Klein has got the disembodied head of a scientist who's been murdered, and he's like, "Oh, I have invented a thing where the dead, you can see the last thing they saw if you just use them like a jack-o'-lantern projector thing."
Yeah.
Basically. So he can project onto the wall the last thing that this poor guy's disembodied head saw
because it was scanned into their retinas when they died.
Yes. And from that, they figure out it's Kenneth Branagh?
Well, they see Kenneth Branagh in it.
Oh, okay, sure.
So, yeah.
By the way, we keep referring to it as Kenneth Branagh, but if you told me that this film starred Gary Oldman,
Oh, yeah.
I would not doubt it for a second.
Yeah.
I do not believe that was Kenneth Branagh.
It's a massive Gary Oldman
I
role.
think this was Gary Oldman playing Kenneth Branagh, playing a Gary Oldman character.
Yeah.
Just deep layers of characterization. That's what this movie was.
Yeah, I like it.
Why y'all look like you seen a ghost? It's me, dear friends. Alive and kicking. Well, alive anyway. We may have lost the war, but heaven knows we haven't lost our sense of humor. No. Not even when we lost a lung, a spleen, a bladder, 2 legs, 35 feet of small intestine, and our ability to reproduce, all in the name of the South? Do we ever lose our sense of humor?
But yeah, and so, what is it? From here, they're just chasing down Kenneth Branagh, and then he gets them, and they have a bit of a train fight.
Well, they end up at Kenneth Branagh's mansion. That's what happens next.
Right, got it.
Yeah, and that's when we get the proper introduction to his character.
Okay, cool. I only watched this last night.
It's already just gone. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of memorable stuff that happens here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they go to this mansion. It's Kenneth Branagh's party. He's like an old Confederate officer that everyone thought was dead. And it's full of like European dignitaries and stuff. They're all dressed in like French, you know, they're all dressed as like Marie Antoinette and whatever. Or like,
Yeah.
There's lots going on. It's a lot to take in. But yeah, so we get introduced to him properly. Like he gets his big reveal moment, and we find out that he is a man who has lost the entire bottom half of his body.
Yeah.
Not just like he's lost his legs.
It's like from his belly button down.
Yes, he's got no groin. He's
Yeah.
got no arm. I mean, I had questions. Like,
Yeah.
like how is he alive?
Due to mechanical weird machines and stuff.
Yeah, but his opening like monologue about I lost my legs and my small intestine and at least one lung, and like he's listing all of these
Yeah.
body parts that have like fallen out of him, and I was like, how? I don't think they even invented penicillin in 1862. How is this guy alive?
I don't know, but I mean, he pretty much had built some android some cyborgs by the end of the movie.
He's more machine than man. Yeah.
Well, not as in like he had cyborgs working for him.
Oh, sure,
Will
yeah.
Smith has to fight them, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that, but yes.
Yeah.
They make no appearance at this point in the film.
No.
But yeah, so he makes this big introduction, and he's clearly a mad half man. And then he has a very uncomfortable, overly long, like sparring match with Will Smith, which is just racist joke, disabled joke, racist joke, disabled joke. It's like, it's all very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I was like, who is this film for? Like,
Clearly not black people or disabled people.
no. I mean, 12-year-old boys, I think, is the answer. But yeah.
Yeah.
I feel if you told me that it was written by 12-year-old boys, I'd probably believe you. Because it wasn't like it was gritty racist jokes like like you might see in like a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like Django Unchained, which this film reminded me of a lot in many ways. Like,
Yeah.
because Django Unchained was offered to Will Smith before Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
And he said no.
Yeah.
And now watching this, I was like, well, I get it, because he's like, well, I've done it already.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of the same film.
I
I mean, that one's much better, but
It's also miles different.
yeah, but I can understand why Will Smith was like, oh no, I did that, and it wasn't much fun. Like, but yeah, it wasn't like those. It wasn't like just, oh, here is how people would talk, and it's just full of M words. It's like weird long walk like jokes. It was like, I haven't seen you in a coons year. So it's like, who says that? Like in any decade, like it was just very odd. Yeah.
Nice of you to join us tonight and add color to these monochromatic proceedings.
Well, when a fella comes back from the dead, I find that an occasion to stand up, be counted.
Miss East informs me that you were expecting to see General McGrath here. Well, I knew him years ago, but I haven't seen him in a coon's age.
Well, I can see where it'd be difficult for a man of your stature to keep in touch with even half the people you know.
Well, perhaps the lovely Miss East will keep you from being a slave to your disappointment.
Well, you know, beautiful women, they encourage you one minute and cut the legs out from under you the next.
Quiet. Excuse me, Mr. West.
But they have their little tete-a-tete, I guess. Also, just because it's not quite racist enough at this point, there's also Biling as Miss East, who's just a generic Asian woman whose only line of dialogue is from east to west. Like, she just does all of this, and it's like nonsense.
Yeah, no, that was not... And she didn't last very long either.
She did not.
She died remarkably quickly.
Will Smith fully shoots her in the stomach, unapologetically.
Does he shoot her?
He does, yeah. Well, she leads him into the room.
No, she leads him into a room. A guy hiding in a painting goes to shoot Will Smith. He dodges out of the way, and she's standing right behind him. I mean, he doesn't care. He doesn't.
No, I thought he shot her and then turned around and shot.
I don't think he does.
Okay, fair enough. I take that back then.
Yeah.
Fine. But yeah, she kind of seduces him with her weird Asian stereotypes, leads him into a room where, I mean, yeah, this is one of the moments in the film when I was like, I have a lot of questions about this scene. So it's a room in which it's full of paintings, but all the paintings are living gods.
Yeah.
And they're just posing as paintings in case someone comes in who they might have to shoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
No, fair. I guess I don't have many questions. I guess that covers it. Like, are they just there all the time?
I would assume so, yeah.
They're not just here for Will Smith. They're here just in case anyone happens to.
Yeah. But it's very bizarre, isn't it?
There's one guy, he walks, like, they're all in these giant life-size paintings, and Will Smith shoots his way out, they all dead. And as he walks out, one of them falls from the ceiling.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? There's a guy in the ceiling who's just kind of like, I guess I'm the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah.
It's madness.
I'm just imagining remember the bits in Arrested Development where they go to that thing and they're just like posing as paintings.
Yes. It did
it's like
look...
Buster and George.
There's a lot of Arrested Development in this because Kevin Kline's character is so much in costume. I did get strong like Gene Parmesan vibes.
Yeah.
The guy who was like, "Oh my God, Gene!" Like, he did it again. I was really getting that from this. Like, imagine like going for a job interview for like, what's your job going to be? Well, you're going to be my personal bodyguard. Okay, that sounds cool. So am I just going to be like standing in doorways? No. You need to like be a living painting.
Yeah.
Just
yeah. But like all the time, because behind you there is not more painting, it's just white. So like if you're not there, the painting will look like somebody is missing.
Yes. So Will Smith shoots his way out of that. There's a whole hilarious mix-up in which he thinks Kevin Kline's...
Are we going to find any good Will Smith films to do?
I don't know. This is the thing, the good ones...
They've all got sequels.
The good ones are all franchises. It's
Yeah.
very hard, yeah. But we'll get to that. But there's another hilarious mix-up where Will Smith thinks Kevin Kline's in drag again, but he's not in drag again.
Yeah.
It's just some woman
who's
wearing the same dress that Kevin Kline wore in drag. Yeah. And Will Smith proceeds to insult this woman horrendously and then drums on her boobs.
I mean, yeah, that wasn't great, but then like when he's about to be hanged,
I mean,
this was rough.
Again, like, who was this for? Like, there is a scene
and he's saying things. So listeners who haven't seen the film, for context right here, he's trying to defend himself for his life.
Yes.
And the answer to that is to just get incredibly racist. I mean, know your audience, I get, in that situation. But he's basically saying, oh, well, from the African tribe that I'm from, this is how we say hello. We just play the drums on each other.
Yeah. This was rough. It's like, who thought that in this, like, light sci-fi fantasy, like, crowd pleaser for teenage boys, we needed a scene where Will Smith may or may not be lynched.
And gets out of it by just being racist.
And gets out of it by doing like a tight 15 minutes of stand-up. Like,
yeah.
He's doing this weird open mic set. Yeah. While all the white guys are like, well, we might still lynch him. It was weird.
It was very odd.
The tone of this film was really strange.
Yeah. Because like afterwards, I think it's, or maybe before, I'm not sure, it's followed up by a scene where he's talking about how like he ran away from working on a plantation and his parents were slaves that he just had to leave there because that's the only way that he could survive. Like, okay, that's a whole story. That's like 12 Years a Slave kind of story.
Exactly. This film has no interest in that.
Yeah. And it's not that I want that in this. I'm just saying, like, there's a good story there for a very different film.
But that's the thing. They could have given Will Smith's character proper motivations.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's what they did in Django Unchained, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
you see that kind of that kind of story happening to that character, but then also the whole Western cowboy bounty hunter
but
aspect.
It informs his motivations.
Did we do Django on this?
We did, yes. Cool. It was very good. But I think the problem is this film, for me, it feels like it has no interstitial scenes. Like every scene is an action scene or a comedy scene, comedy quote marks, but like it's trying to be like a big scene. There are no like scenes where characters just talk to each other and you learn about what the characters are. It just jumps from one and that's weird set piece to another, and that makes it really hard to follow or engage in because the characters never really engage with one another on any kind of human level, and you never really understand what they're there for. So there's a scene where Will Smith says, "Oh, my parents were killed in this," but he just kind of says it, and it's like, okay, but that means nothing in the context of this film. That's just a thing you just said.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it's such an odd.
What happens from here? Should we just skip to the end?
There's so much though. So while Will Smith is being lynched, Kevin Klein discovers Salma Hayek again.
Oh yeah.
Who's in a giant bird cage in Kenneth Branagh's bedroom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because she just turned up at this party. We don't know why.
Nope.
She's just like, I'm working here now. It's like, okay.
I was really, really expecting the twist to happen at the end that she was also a US Marshal.
Sure.
Like, that would have really worked. I was dead certain that that's what it was going to be. And it's not, oh no, the person I said that was my father, I don't remember her saying that, was my boyfriend all along. Like,
she got fuck all to do in this movie. It was like, I was watching this like, Salma Hayek is an Oscar-nominated actress. Like, this is the kind of shit she had to do.
They all are, aren't they? Is Kevin Klein?
Yeah, he's won one.
Yeah, great. So they're all Oscar-nominated, all winners.
Yeah, sure. But at this point she won. But I mean, like, it was like, God, the shit she had to do. Like, her character literally has nothing to do. She's just, she's in the movie a lot, but she does nothing. She's just like,
she doesn't have a moment. It's not even like she's the Princess Peach getting rescued or something. She's just...
It's just like they inserted her in.
Kind of there.
Yeah, she's just kind of in the background.
She gets eyeballed at one point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What is the one memorable thing she does in the movie? She shows her ass. Yeah. That's the memorable Salma Hayek scene in this movie. Yeah. And it's not even like... You know, like sometimes you'll get female characters who are not driving the plot forward as much as you would hope, but they get like a very iconic scene where they're doing like a sexy dance or... Princess Leia with the chainmail, you know, on the strangling Jabba, you know, something.
Sure, yeah.
Whereas her one is just like, she does nothing the whole movie, and there's just one scene where she's just like doing nothing but, oh, here's my arse. And then Kevin Klein and Will Smith make a load of like stupid puns.
Yeah.
And that's the most she gets. Like it is one of the most thankless roles I've ever seen for a woman. Like
it's not even a grossly inappropriate scene.
No, it's not even like... No, it's not like I've seen way creepier scenes.
Yeah.
It's just that it's pointless. Yeah. It's just like this has no bearing on the plot of this movie at all. It just feels like, oh yeah, Salma Hayek's here, and she does have a great arse. Yeah. What can we do?
Yeah.
Just, I don't know, put her in some pants, just pull the flap down. Like, I guess that'll fill some time. Weird.
Yeah. Also, did that scene imply that she is the same size as Will Smith?
Well, that too. I mean, they were baggy on her, you know. But,
yeah. Okay.
Maybe that's why they didn't cover all. But
I guess. Yeah. Oh well. That's I guess all we have to say about Salma Hayek in this.
More or less, yeah. But no, he rescues her. She's in a birdcage. She's ostensibly looking for her father, who's one of the scientists who's been kidnapped. But yeah, then they leave. They run away from the mansion. Kenneth Branagh kills Ted Levine.
Oh yeah.
A trumpet ear man.
Yeah. Not before at one point where he knocks him out. The guy is unconscious on the ground, trumpet facing upwards, and a little dog comes and looks at him.
Yeah.
What was that? I mean, I get it. It was the HMV logo.
It was the HMV logo, yeah, but what was
why?
Was this film sponsored by HMV?
I don't know. It just felt like such a random thing.
It was such a weird insert, yeah.
Yeah.
I was confused by that too.
If it was like a comment on product placement, if like somehow they managed to make the Coca-Cola logo or something,
Yeah.
then like, okay, that'd be a funny joke, but still kind of a bit odd for this movie.
I mean,
but
like-
this was just nothing. It's not like HMV's a massive brand that everybody knows and is always everywhere.
Well,
In
in the
back
90s more
1999?
so. I mean, not like McDonald's standard, but like it was bigger than it is now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess if like the dog had like a Will Smith CD in its mouth or something, then
Yeah.
maybe. Like,
Yeah.
the Wild Wild West CD single, sure, but yeah, I don't know what that was. It's odd.
If they'd have built it up before with like, trumpet ear guy has a pet dog.
Yes.
If they'd have had that before, then that would have been something. But like now, it's just this dog just comes out of nowhere.
Well, that's what I mean. Like the jokes.
Just for this one gag that then just the dog's not in it again. It's not.
Yeah. But that's what I mean, like about the film not having any interstitial scenes. It's like the jokes in this film have no setup.
Yeah.
It's just like they get like, oh crap, let's have another joke. But
Yeah.
a joke needs to be built to. Like, yeah, you're right. If that dog had been there the whole time, you'd be like, oh, now it's doing the HMV thing. That would have been
Yeah.
like at least raised a smile. But just like it's just bewildering.
Yeah.
I don't know. At this point, Kenneth Branagh, he kills Ted Levine really unceremoniously, since he's set up as like the secondary villain of the movie.
He literally just gets shot and killed. And
Yeah,
just
and
like,
then he's just not in the movie
That's
anymore.
it.
Yeah, it's very odd.
Yeah.
He also massacres all of those soldiers.
Yes.
He's in like a tank there's a whole army in a field, which is Ted Levine's soldiers, and then Kenneth Branagh just instructs his female accomplices to just shoot them all.
Yeah.
And all these men end up dead.
Yeah.
But why?
I have no idea.
What was the purpose of that?
No idea. Just a show of force, but literally just for us, the audience.
Yeah, but like, I guess those soldiers were bad guys though, because they were with Trumpet Ear Man. So we're not supposed to feel sorry for them necessarily, are we?
I think they weren't bad guys. Well, no, they weren't bad guys. They were just bad guys.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No.
As in, they weren't the evilists. They were just semi-evil.
But they weren't. Again, they weren't. There was no context of who they were.
Yeah, I know.
It was just a weird scene.
I'm not going to try and stick up for them. It didn't make any sense.
Okay, so that happens for reasons, and then they end up back on the train,
Yeah.
and that's when we get all of this bickering about Salma Hayek, where we see her
Oh, yeah.
bum. There's more stuff with the like pool table, and Will Smith ends up under the train again, and
Yeah, because they have a train chase, but then they accidentally overtake Kenneth Branagh's train.
yeah, because Kenneth Branagh's train is a spider.
Yeah, it's on legs.
Yeah,
Which
that's
sure.
just what this is.
Yeah, and then they do have a bit of a sequence where where Will Smith manages to board Kenneth Branagh's train
Yes,
through the pool table
yes.
loosely.
Does he get onto the train? I thought he ends up back on his own train.
He rides. He goes through the floor of his own train.
Ends up underneath the other train.
on the pool table.
Yeah,
And then wheels himself using one of those elastic ropes,
yeah.
which snaps off his own train, so he quickly attaches it to Kenneth Branagh's train.
Okay.
And then just kind of bounces underneath, backwards and forwards from Kenneth Branagh's train.
Yes.
He eventually does manage to board that train, gets on it, has a fight with a guy on the roof, and throws that guy down the chimney, blowing up the train, but not before Kenneth Branagh has managed to harpoon what's-his-face's train, the good guy's train.
Sure. Kevin Klein's train.
Kevin Klein's train, bringing both trains to a halt.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And so then Kenneth Branagh's like, we need a new train. And so they get on...
Excellent Kenneth Branagh impression.
Thanks. And so, yeah, they get on to Kevin Klein's train. Salma Hayek accidentally sets off one of the pool balls.
Because they're just filled with...
They're filled with sleeping gas. And it makes Will Smith, who just got back to rescue them, it makes Will Smith and them all fall asleep, so that Kenneth Branagh can very easily just take their train, leave them stranded without any technology or anything.
Yes, so...
With those metal things around their neck, which we saw from the start of the movie, which can magnetically attract this weird circular saw.
Yeah, so basically Kenneth Branagh kidnaps Salma Hayek, leaves Will Smith and Kevin Klein stranded in the outback in the Wild Wild West, wearing metallic collars.
Is the outback not Australia?
Sorry, in the Wild West. Well, whatever. There's no kangaroos in this movie, although it wouldn't surprise me. So they're stranded and they're both wearing these metallic collars, which it turns out are magnetized because after a few minutes they realise that these spinning magnetized blades are chasing them, trying to decapitate them.
Yeah.
Now, this is like Dr. Evil levels of villainy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you've got your two enemies unconscious. Shoot them in the head.
Yeah.
Just finish him off. But
Yeah.
no. Instead, craft these elaborate metallic collars and place. Again, I was like, what's the setup for this? Like, place these metal things just far enough away that they're not going to hit them straight away. But as soon as they wake up, it's gonna hit them and they're going to fly towards them.
Yeah.
And then we just get this whole bunch of like deathly physical comedy of them running. Like, I did not find any of this funny.
No.
Just like running left and right, just trying to run away from the metal plates. Did you find it funny?
Did you not like it when they fell down a cliff into a bog, basically?
I thought the visual of Will Smith and Kevin Klein jumping into a giant pool of shit was a great visual metaphor for this movie. I'll say that.
Sure, yeah. I was wondering why there was just a giant pool of shit there.
Because there needed to be, yeah. Because the script said so.
Everything else looked very dry.
Yes, well, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, so I guess that works. They do manage to make their way out of the magnetic necklaces.
Yeah, they jump into the air, don't they, so that the two metallic plates collide and
blow up.
Yeah.
They literally explode in flames.
Yes.
They're just made of metal.
They're just bits of metal. Yeah, why they exploding, who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, Will Smith and Kevin Klein, they do manage to get out of the metal head brace things, but not before plenty more physical comedy where they keep getting magnetized towards each other.
Yeah.
And to each other's boots and belt buckles, and oh my god, his face is near his penis.
Yes, it's this film loves a gay joke.
Yeah.
It really is. It's it is so written by and for 15-year-old boys. It's like, oh my god, he's looking at his groin. Hilarity.
Yeah. So let's see. They get out of that, and they somehow just make their way to go and catch up on foot with Kenneth Branagh.
Yes. I can't remember how.
It's just a bit where he builds a plane. Where he invents the plane that Leonardo da Vinci couldn't invent.
He just casually invents flight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But there's a point definitely where they catch up with the actual president, who's again played by Kevin Klein.
Yeah.
Because that's when Kenneth Branagh kidnaps the president and also his lookalike, i.e. Kevin Klein.
Yeah.
And Salma Hayek.
Yeah.
Everyone but Will Smith gets kidnapped, essentially.
Yeah. Yes.
And then Kevin Klein does his very, very long exposition scene when he's explaining what his motivations as a villain are.
Basically, yeah.
Can you remember what this was?
No.
It was something like he wanted to give the American states back to the Europeans.
Yeah, something like that.
He wanted to sell it all back. Because the North had won the war, historically.
Yeah.
You know, that means slavery is abolished, and that means that the USA is now a United States, you know. He doesn't want the South back for himself. He just wants to sell it back to England, Spain, and other places.
Yeah. Yeah, I never really understood this either.
No. But that's his plan, nevertheless.
Yeah.
He prepares to shoot Kevin Klein in the head. But just at the moment he's about to, Will Smith appears again. But oh my god, he's in drag. He's in Princess Jasmine drag.
Yeah.
And he does a dance.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Did he not like this then?
I didn't get it.
But I think you did, John. Will Smith was in drag.
Will Smith was in... Yeah, I mean, I did, as much as there's anything to get.
That was the joke.
Yeah, it was so cartoonish. It was like, oh, there's a sexy lady in drag who's clearly Will Smith. and the villains just like stop. They're just like mesmerised by the spectacle of Will Smith in drag.
Yeah.
I'll say this.
Like even Kenneth Branagh, who up until now has been a very smart villain.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he's like, a lady?
So Will Smith as Princess Jasmine does a whole lap dance for the man who has no penis.
Yeah.
Yet is somehow mesmerised by this regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say this.
Yeah.
Once again, much like Kenneth Branagh, Will Smith, he's paid attention to his eyes. Beautiful eye makeup on that man.
He's done well there.
Which disappears the next scene.
I mean, spoiler alert, he didn't actually do his own makeup for this, I'm pretty sure.
No, but the character did, presumably. He causes a distraction, manages to rescue Kevin Klein and Salma Hayek, but the president is kidnapped again.
Yeah.
The president is the Princess Peach of this movie. The president gets kidnapped on the giant spider again, and the giant spider comes like crawling towards. It just crawls over the mountains.
Which I've got to say that the CGI for that giant spider, it looked pretty good.
Well, that's where all the budget went.
Yeah.
Because there's other CGI in this movie which is not so good.
Well, they got the CGI dead on, I thought, pretty much throughout. The green screen, on the other hand...
The green screen was appalling.
Yeah.
Truly awful.
I just don't get why green screen is so bad. Like, even now, it's still shit. Like,
They've just never found a way to make it work, I don't think.
Actually, I must say, they probably do get it right a lot of the times, and then we
just don't notice. But when it's wrong, it's
like I've
wrong.
seen examples of it. Like, oh my god, that was green screen the whole time. Like, bloody hell.
Yeah, but in this film, there are a lot of shots when they are just patently standing on like a sound stage in LA somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like 6 foot by 6 foot with a camera pointed at them.
The Room looks better than some of this.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. Oh god, I don't know.
And this is the point where Kevin Klein casually invents the concept of flying.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, he invents a plane. They fly onto the spider, and then we get to the final battle, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like this film was 3 hours long. Now we've got to this far into talking about it.
I know.
I feel like it's a very long film, and it's not. It's like an hour 45.
It's only just over 90 minutes. It packs a lot in, and also not very much. But yeah. Anyway, so there's a whole fight on the giant spider. Will Smith ends up fighting a bunch of random goons who were only inserted. You know, this fight scene where he's fighting like the cyborg man, and who have never been seen before until this moment. So do you know why they are in this moment?
Are they original characters from the TV show or something?
No. So basically, they were added in a post-production. In reshoots. They had reshoots for this movie.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes, because for most of the movie, Kenneth Branagh's only accomplices are like the sexy ladies. It's got like Lip Syncer and Malnutrition. And,
right, okay. So they didn't want Will Smith beating up lots of women.
Well, apparently, initially that was what happened. In the first shoot of this climactic battle scene that's like the end of the film, it's just Will Smith beating up a bunch of women. And then they sent it for test screenings, and everyone was like, this is quite uncomfortable.
This is where we draw the line.
Yeah, it was like, this is just 10 minutes of Will Smith
like,
punching.
we could draw the line earlier, but no, we'll draw it here.
Now, this is, Will Smith just punching women in the face for like 10 minutes is odd. So then they decided to go back and reshoot with some generic goons, which is what this whole sequence is about. So Will Smith fights off all these goons.
Just cut the sequence.
I know, yeah. Whereas Kevin Klein is like...
Because like Kevin Klein is just upstairs doing nothing.
Well, he's dance fighting with the women. Because the women are still... Yeah, the women are still in the film.
Oh, okay.
He kind of dances you can tell, like, okay, you can tell the studio knew it was, he can't punch the women. Yeah. Because people don't like that.
Yeah.
So Kevin Klein just, like, has a dance off and, like, makes the women all kind of very awkwardly fall off the spider and just go, like, ah! And then they're gone. Like...
Brilliant.
So the women all fall off. Will Smith kills all the goons. Then Will Smith has a fight with Kenneth Branagh, who is now a full spider. Or he's, like, his body is a spider.
Yeah. Pretty much. His wheelchair has legs.
His wheelchair becomes a spider.
Yeah.
Sentences I'm saying on this podcast. At some point, Kevin Klein shoots the spider in the leg and makes all the hydraulic fuel fall out, and then that gives Will Smith the upper hand.
Yeah.
They end up... The actual big metal spider falls over the cliff, or is clinging on by like one leg or whatever. Kenneth Branagh and Will Smith are like hanging over the ledge of the cliff. Kenneth Branagh gets one more racist jibe in, and then he falls off himself and he falls to his doom, and then Will Smith says, "That's an arse whooping." I was like, well, no, it's not. At what point did you whoop his arse? You didn't. You just let him fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yeah, so then Kenneth Branagh's dead. The president has been saved. The president makes Will Smith and Kevin Klein official secret agents.
Which, like, they weren't before?
I don't know what they were before.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what?
Yeah. Then Salma Hayek shows up again, and it's like, and they're both like, well, pick one of us. We've both been basically this close to raping you for the entire movie, so you might as well just pick one of us. And she's like, oh no, the man who I said was my father is actually my husband, so bye. Then she's gone.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Klein and Will Smith ride off into the sunset on a giant metallic spider.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the movie. and then the song kicks in.
And then the song
And then
kicks
we
in,
get the song.
Yeah.
Which is, let's be honest, the best part of the whole movie.
Yeah, by a fair bit. Yeah, this movie was way worse when you went through it.
It's not good.
No, it's not, is it? You're still glad I picked it, though, right?
I mean, it was an interesting viewing experience.
Yeah.
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 I'm glad I've seen it in much the way that I'm glad I've seen The Room and Showgirls and, a lot of the truly awful films. Mm-hmm. Yeah. As a piece of, like, pop culture history, it's good to be like, oh, wow, there was a time when this could get made and it would end up like this. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. It was a moment in time, definitely. Yeah.
Sure. Right, okay, should we do drinking games?
We probably should, yeah.
So first I got drink for gunshots.
Drink for gunshots, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Is this like when a character is shot or just when a shot is fired?
When a shot is fired.
Okay.
Like, it's not loads, but just like, yeah.
Okay.
Here and there.
There's a lot of characters being shot by other characters in this movie, and it's like, oh, I guess they're dead now. Like the Asian lady.
Yeah.
Like Ted Levine.
Yeah, drink for character
Drink
deaths.
when a character who dies, you think, oh, I thought they'd last a bit longer than that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, my first one was drink for gadgets.
Yeah.
In specifically Kevin Klein's, like, he is literally Gadget Man. He's Inspector Gadget in this movie.
Yeah, I've also got drink for whenever an invention works perfectly.
Yeah, despite the fact that Will Smith spends the entire movie just shitting on him.
They work almost all the time.
They do. Will Smith's just like, we don't have time for your crazy inventions, man. It's like, literally everyone has worked.
Yeah. I think the only thing that doesn't work is the hypnosis things.
That's the only one, yeah. The rest, they all work perfectly.
Yeah.
Drink for, this is a big one, drink for uncomfortable racial humour.
Great.
It is so awkward in this film, though, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Like, so this film was based on a TV series, apparently, from the 1960s, which I've never seen, never heard of.
No.
But in that TV show, obviously, the Will Smith character was just a white guy. Mm-hmm. So they decide, obviously, when they choose to make this film, like 35 years later, they cast Will Smith. Although it wasn't originally supposed... This is the thing. It was originally... First, it was going to be Mel Gibson. Then it was going to be Tom Cruise.
Right.
And then eventually it landed on Will Smith.
Okay.
So he only became black.
See, I could see Mel Gibson as a cowboy.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, I'm just not sure.
I don't buy Tom Cruise as a cowboy.
No.
But at some point, like, Will Smith gets the role and it's like, okay, I guess the character is black now.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, of all the ways to address that...
Yeah.
It was like, okay, you can either ignore it and just make it colourblind casting, which I think they should have done. Just make it, he's just a cool guy.
Yeah.
Because this film isn't a fantasy steampunk reality anyway. So, like, who's to say? This film doesn't need to be about racism or whatever. So either don't acknowledge it at all and just make Will Smith a cool black action hero and don't feel the need to drag him down with racist shit, or mention it in a way that's like make it like Django Unchained, like make it meaningful.
Yeah.
Like, make that something
Make it part of his character.
Yeah, make it inform who he is. Instead, we get just this endless stream of racial abuse that's like genuinely hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. It's so bizarre.
Drink for tits and ass.
Yeah, I drink for boob jokes.
Yeah, drink for drag references.
Yes. Okay, so that's another thing. Like, one of the maybe the most cringy scenes in this movie is when fake boobs. Yeah. Oh my god, this was painful. So Kevin Kline's whole thing is that he likes to dress as a woman to get information.
Yeah.
And part of that is he wears these giant fake boobs. And there's this whole sequence, which again goes on for at least a minute longer than it needs to be funny, where Will Smith and Kevin Kline Will Smith feels the boobs and he's like, they don't feel like real women's boobs. Here, look. And he pours out the sand or whatever and replaces it with water. He's like, now they feel like women's boobs.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Kline's like, oh yeah, you're right. Now they're not so hard anymore. And there's just this whole back and forth. Meanwhile, the old guy on the train is just hearing the dialogue and being like, I knew they were faggots.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah. You got any more?
My last one, well, I had boob jokes and gay panic, which is the same joke.
Yeah.
And finally, drink for truly appalling green screen.
Yeah.
Abysmal green screen.
So bad.
It's shocking how bad the green screen is.
Yeah. It really takes you out of it. Especially when, like, a lot of the other CGI in it just looks great.
Yeah.
It's just like this film doesn't match itself.
I had the same thing with Independence Day. I know we're going to talk about that separately, but it was like parts of this look okay. Like, clearly money has been spent. This is an almost painfully expensive movie. But there are shots that look so bad. And how on earth did this pass?
Yeah.
But I guess it was the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if that does it for Drinking Games, listeners, John just mentioned Independence Day. That's because we are doing it on our Patreon show. We're doing a little review of Independence Day, just to, keep you all going while the cinemas are closed.
Yeah.
So if you want to hear it, you need to go to patreon.com/beyondtheboxset, and you can support us for as much or as little as you want. No matter how much you pay, you still get all the same stuff. It's just pay as you feel. If you do that, other than the bonus show, you also get extended versions of the main episode. You also get to put a little advert on the main show if you want to. You can advertise your own podcast or business or whatever. You get our exclusive Facebook group, and every now and then we'll do a Patreon episode on the main show where we pick a guest at random and they get to choose the film for us. They can come and guest on the show if they want to. Don't have to do that. All that at patreon.com/beyondtheboxset.
Indeed.
Let's see, Alex. What do you think of Jaws, which is at 97% Rotten Tomatoes?
I find it to be anti-shark propaganda. What do you feel about the Entourage movie, which is at a meager 33%?
I think they finally got Hollywood right. How about It Follows, 97%?
Worse than your parents giving you the sex is evil talk. How do you feel about Juno, which is at 94%?
That would be a movie that celebrates a teenage homewrecker. How about Bewitched at 25%?
Best television adaptation ever put to film. How do you feel about American Hustle at a towering 93%?
Overwrought awards bait. Righteous Kill, 19%.
The movie that Michael Mann wishes he had made when he created Heat.
Sounds about right. I'm Julio.
I'm Alex, and we are the Contrarians.
As you can tell, our thing is that we rage against the Rotten Tomatoes machine.
Regardless of what we really feel.
Find us on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn,
Facebook, Twitter, we're everywhere.
This is all that is.
Now, you're first.
Sequels. Okay. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying this movie does not lend itself well to sequels.
It doesn't, does it?
Because this film doesn't have a plot. As much as we spent probably about the best part of an hour describing a plot, this film has no plot.
It doesn't leave you with anything. It doesn't leave you with much to go off.
So these are stretches.
Yeah.
Okay. I've done 3 small ideas rather than one big one because God only knows. So maybe you can help me with one of these.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one is a prequel.
Okay.
And this prequel is concerning the Kenneth Branagh character.
Sure, yeah.
Because, I mean, I think he's got the most interesting backstory. So I was thinking it might be fun to have a prequel that explains how the hell he became this, like, mechanical spider half-man thing. Something, obviously, he was a soldier in the Confederate War on the side of the South. But he wasn't just a soldier, he was an engineering genius.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's, like, very creative and he builds all these robots.
Yeah.
And maybe while he was on the front lines of this war, his specialty was developing mechanical super weapons to help the South win. So maybe he was developing like versions of the Spider in this alternate reality to help the South to win the North in the war.
Yeah.
But then something happens and he ends up getting blown up. But also I was thinking he could be, as well as being a mechanical genius, he's also a sex addict who spends a lot of time in brothels and saloons, much like we see in the original film.
Sure, yeah.
Because I was thinking, like, in the main film, we only see him with those 3 women, his 3 like hench ladies, who are it's like lip syncer or lip readia, isn't it? Is it lip readia?
Oh, I don't remember.
Malnutrition, and it was something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
That was it. It was lip and reader, Munitia, and Amazonia.
Okay.
Okay, so he's got these 3 female henchwomen. So I was like, where did they come from?
I liked Your Names better.
Malnutrition and lip syncer, yeah.
I mean, they all sound like pretty good drag names, whereas the ones from the film sound like kind of okay drag names.
Yeah, I really, in my head, I was like, well, these are just drag queens.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, yeah, I'm thinking maybe like before he got blown up, he was spending a lot of time in brothels. And maybe in this brothel, he meets these women. He spends a lot of money and they come to respect him. So when he gets caught in the explosion and he's left for dead by his fellow soldiers, maybe these 3 prostitutes rescue him and like nurse him back to health.
Yeah.
And they're all from different parts of Europe because the 3 women were definitely European. One seemed to be Swedish, one was German maybe. They were definitely characterized as like not American.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like maybe that's why he's obsessed with like selling the states back to the Americans. Maybe like because these 3 women saved his life, he vows to, he brings them on as his like assistants, but also he vows to repay them by making sure that their home countries get their states back.
Right, yeah.
And
that
maybe
makes
that's
sense.
his backstory.
Yeah.
So that's all I've got for that.
I like that.
Although I was also thinking that maybe Will Smith's parents could have caused the explosion. Because there was no sense in this movie of why Will Smith and him were like enemies, apart from the fact that they were on different sides.
Yeah.
Like, because there's the scene where they meet and they have this weird back and forth of racist versus ableist humour. But at no point does it explain why they specifically dislike each other. So maybe if like Will Smith himself or Will Smith's parents, like Jim West's parents, were part of the fight back that caused him to lose his body.
Sure,
maybe that gives him some. That gives him some kind of. And maybe he sees like a baby Will Smith.
Maybe he used to own Will Smith's parents as slaves.
Exactly, yeah. And maybe he sells Will. That's it. Maybe he sells a young Will Smith as a child to another, slaver, vindictively. And so the last thing Will Smith sees is himself being separated from his parents, and then his parents die. And then, so that's why...
Well, Will Smith did say that he ran away, so maybe he ran away, gave himself the name Jim West, which is not his birth name, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And so then, Kenneth Branagh doesn't really recognise Will Smith because he's grown up. Will Smith does recognise him.
Okay, yeah. Maybe Kenneth Branagh is a very abusive slave owner, and he's, like, properly, like, torturing, beating, whatever, Will Smith's parents, and that's when Will Smith escapes.
Yeah.
So the last thing he sees is his parents being horribly abused by this... And that's why he vows revenge.
Sounds great. I love it.
I know it's not fun. It's not much of a fun film. I'm just saying. I'm just giving Will Smith some kind of motivation. To come back and like get revenge. So yeah. That's all I've got for that one. So that's a prequel, and I've called it Arliss, Loveless, Legless.
Okay.
The character's called Arliss.
Yeah.
And he's loveless, obviously. No, the character's called Arliss Loveless.
Right.
And he's got no legs, so it's Arliss Loveless, Legless.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The second one, this is by far the shortest. I've just got a title for this one. It's Jim Weston the Spiders from Mars.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
I'm thinking, again, because this is like in a steampunky kind of vibe, isn't it? Very much in the style of John Carter from Mars. They should just stop doing steampunk, I think. I don't think it's ever worked.
No.
As a genre, steampunk just doesn't seem to work in cinema.
No.
Like, you've got League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, massive bomb. John Carter, massive bomb. This, massive bomb. Sky Captain of the World of Tomorrow, which we've not done yet, but we probably should. Massive bomb. Yeah. Have you seen it?
I think so.
Yeah. It's always been on my short list, but I never got around to it.
Yeah.
But like they always seem to like be huge flops. Like I think that they just need to lay steampunk to rest, frankly.
When was the last time they tried it? John Carter?
Probably John Carter, yeah. If that counts as steampunk, but yeah.
Yeah. But if not, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
League came after this, yeah. No, Sky Captain. That was later than that. Sky Captain was like 2005. So.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes films just hit the level of shitness that you just think they've been around forever.
They don't. Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. I don't think they've tried a steampunk in a while. I think it's because it's literally never worked.
I don't think of The Room as a film that came out in the noughties. I'd think of it as a film that's just always been there.
That's always existed, yeah. Exactly. It is itself, its own genre.
Yeah.
Exactly. So my only plot description for this is that it's after the original, Will Smith and Kevin Klein. They're travelling on their giant mechanical spider, and they get caught up in a fierce storm, a weather storm, and they take shelter in a mysterious cave, end up coming across a medallion that transports them to Mars.
Right,
which is basically the plot of John Carter and Mars.
Yeah, sure.
And then it's just Will Smith and Kevin Klein as those characters, but they're on Mars.
Yeah.
And maybe that Mars is filled with actual spiders.
Maybe it's like the Mars Attacks kind of aliens.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe that sort of style, at least.
Yeah, maybe, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking, using Kevin Klein's gadgetry ability plus Will Smith's cockiness and general personality, they are forced to face off against Martians riding spiders or something. Yeah. That's all I've got. That was it. That was that. There's nothing I can do with that one.
Okay.
My third one, a little bit more established. So in this one, once again, it's a direct sequel. Kevin Klein and Will Smith, after the events of the original film, are travelling America on the giant mechanical spider, and they are now renegade soldiers protecting truth, justice in the American way. They're heroes. But one day, on the course of their journey, they're taking down crime, keeping the peace, whatever. They get a letter from Salma Hayek, who says she's been kidnapped and taken prisoner in Canada.
Oh, God.
The worst place to be.
Oh no.
I know.
She's probably dead already.
She might as well be. I mean, if she's not, she might as well be.
Yeah.
And she begs them to come and rescue her. Mm-hmm. Now, it's obviously a trap.
Yeah.
It's clearly a trap. They know it's a trap. But also, she does have a great bum. So they're like, well, you know. So they decide to ride up to the cool climes of northern Canada, where they find out that Salma Hayek has been kidnapped by none other than Kenneth Branagh's long-lost brother, Pierre Loveless.
Is he French?
He's French-Canadian.
French-Canadian, of course.
French-Canadian Pierre, yeah. So imagine Kenneth Branagh for all like the scenery chewing he's doing in this movie, but with a French-Canadian accent, basically. So,
yeah, sure.
Maybe played by Gary Oldman. It could be just Kenneth Branagh again. Or
okay, so not like twin brother, just like equally eccentric.
I mean, you could have either, yeah.
Yeah.
They're both equally, over the top. So I'm feeling like, he is the Kenneth Branagh character from the original movies.
Is he also in a wheelchair?
Yes. So he's also had a disfiguring accident.
Has he lost the same half, or is it down the middle this
time?
No,
yeah, you're way ahead of me.
Down the middle.
He's lost his torso. So he's just a head with a bunch of with a pair of mechanical legs, like in Onward.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Like in that Pixar film Onward.
Yeah.
That he controls by like psycho, power, whatever, psychokinesis. So he can just like use the legs to make them like kickbox and like roundhouse kick Will Smith and Kevin Klein using the power of his mind.
Yeah.
And he wants revenge for the murder of his brother, hence kidnapping Salma Hayek and setting up this whole trap. So he's got his legs, and also he doesn't have a giant mechanical spider. That's not his vibe because he's Canadian. He's got a giant mechanical beaver.
Okay.
And that's his choice mode of transport.
Very good at building big dams.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, his plan is to break down the biggest dam in Canada and flood the entire North American continent.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So Will Smith and Kevin Klein, they have to defeat Pierre, rescue Salma Hayek, and stop the dam explosion from happening.
Okay. Yeah.
And that is Will Smith and Kevin Klein in Mild North.
Mild North.
Yeah.
Very good.
Wild West. Mild North.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Like I said, all very thin. Not much meat on the bone, but that was what it was. Yeah.
Well, I've got a couple of thin ones, and I've got one that's a bit thicker, not a lot thicker.
Okay.
So the first one is Kim and Kanye have a new baby. They call it Wild Wild.
Oh, of course, because their baby's North, is it?
But their surname is West. But
Northwest, yeah, okay. Great.
I mean, Northwest is an actual child of theirs.
Yes, no, that's so. Yeah, their kid is called Northwest, so it's called Wild West. Is that like North's little brother or little sister?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Next one I've got is Wikipedia.
Is that all you got?
Will Smith writes a rap for every page of Wikipedia.
For every page of Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Is it like a My Beautiful Mind situation where he's like a tortured genius who's going insane?
Sure, yeah.
And he becomes obsessed with writing a rap verse for every single article on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So even though it's like mundane stuff, like Wikipedia has like millions of articles, no matter how mundane, he has to have a rap for it.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. I've also got Wild Wild West Side Story.
Okay.
Which is the same story, but it's set in the Old West.
Okay.
And it's starring Will Smith and Kevin Klein in multiple roles.
Are they just the only two actors in it at all?
Pretty much, yeah.
Do you know there's a version...
If there's space for Kenneth Branagh, then throw him in.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, it's a love story. So, like, is Kevin Klein playing Maria?
Sure.
Okay, great. You know, there's a version of West Side Story that's just Cher playing literally every role.
Really?
Yeah. It's fantastic.
I'm sure it is. I've also... I mean, this is semi-inspired by many listener submissions that I've got that have been along the lines of this title, which is Two Wilds, Two Wests.
Sure.
You know, because the title has two wilds in it. And then Jim West bumps into a doppelganger of himself. So
okay.
There's two Wests.
Oh, I see.
That's how I tied it in there. The plot plays out very similarly to Gemini Man.
Oh, I see.
Which we've not seen.
So we've not seen, but I know basically what's happening.
But at the end, it's revealed to be Kevin Klein in disguise the whole time.
What, Kevin Klein's in blackface?
Maybe it's a rubber mask.
I mean, still questionable. Very questionable.
Worse than this film?
It could, I mean, no, it would probably be not, I wouldn't put it past this film for Kevin Klein to have been in blackface. I'm only thankful that they didn't do that, but wouldn't have surprised me.
Yeah. And then the actual the actual plot that I'll come up with is called Back to the Wild Wild West.
Back to the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's essentially Back to the Future 4. But this time, Doc, having rebuilt the DeLorean, goes back to the Old West intentionally to meet his all-time favourite inventor, Artemis Gordon.
Okay.
He bumps into Artemis Gordon just after the end of Wild Wild West, as him and Jim West are riding into the sunset on a mechanical spider. Doc arrives and has a right old nerd out with Gordon, just like exploring the spider and talking about different inventions and stuff like that. Meanwhile, Jim West, who's completely bored by this, just like, who's this guy? He's very taken with the Doc's sick ride, the DeLorean.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And so Jim gets in and presses some buttons, not knowing what they do, and accidentally drives off back to the future.
So he leaves the Doc behind, and now he's got control of the DeLorean.
Yep.
Okay. On board.
And so he arrives in the future, the year 2020, where Jim West went missing back in 1890, and the future has been altered as a result.
Okay.
Since he's been gone, the world has absolutely fallen apart. There's both nobody to be seen, and all the countryside has been paved over by giant cities. It doesn't take him long to find out that the vast majority of the human population has been quarantined from themselves, and outside life has essentially ended.
Oh, so he's joined right in the middle of coronavirus.
The authorities are pretty aggressive towards him, but luckily he's got bulletproof charisma.
He does, yeah.
So, not fully realising that he's travelled in time, because, I mean, the concept of time travel wasn't really there in the 17th century, or whatever that is, 19th century?
19th.
Yeah, so I'm sorry.
He goes forwards.
Yeah. Yeah, not fully realising that he's time travelled, he goes to find somewhere he knows, and so he finds his way to the White House. He charms the guards with his charisma, and manages to meet the president, who is a very, very Donald Trump-style president, but he goes by the name of Biff Tannen, who is...
Oh, is that the Back to the Future?
Yes.
character?
Have you not seen them, have you?
I've not, no. I know it's my deepest
So weird.
hole in the...
So weird that you've not seen them.
Just never got around to it.
I think you'd really like them.
I'm sure I would, yeah. So is he a good guy or a bad guy?
Oh, he's a bad guy.
Is he like the high school villain, kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
But at one point in Back to the Future 2, they go to the future of, I think it's 2015, 2016, I don't know. Yeah, they go there and they meet future Biff Tannen, and he's pretty much Donald Trump.
Okay.
Like, he has Tannen Towers, and he's...
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, like it's very close. It's great. But yeah, anyway, so he meets the president, does not like him, and he realises this future is no good. I need to go and live my life back in the day.
Sure.
So yeah, he goes back to the DeLorean, gets angry at it, not understanding how it works, because how would he? So he just kind of hits the dashboard and accidentally activates the flux capacitor, and it sends him back to the 1890s.
Oh, good. Okay, so he's back in his own world.
And when he gets back, he explains what he saw and makes a vow not to let that world come to be. And he knows that just by living his life, he has the ability to stop that world. The Doc tries to explain to him that's not how time travel works, but Jim West does not have time for it. So he and Gordon, they try to track down the ancestor of President Biff Tannen, stop him from having any children.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Meanwhile, the Doc goes home. We spend the rest of the film with Gordon asking West about the future and what kind of technology they have. But Jim West only remembers two things about the future: the direness of it all, and this poster of a woman he saw with fake tits and ass. At the end.
Who's the woman with fake tits? Is that Salma Hayek?
I don't know. Just could be just what they've never seen fake tits or a fake ass before.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
Other than like the drag ones, but implants.
Oh, I see. Okay, so the
just,
future of sexuality is
gets them on.
Okay, sure.
Gets them on, gets them off.
Turns them on, gets them off. Yeah.
Turns them on, gets them off. Those are some weird sayings, aren't they? You actually think about them. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, that was Back to the Wild Wild West.
Back to the Wild West. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
All done? Yeah.
That's me done, yeah.
Okay, should we move on to some listener submissions?
Yes.
Oh, what have you got?
So I've got a few of these. Mike Smart and many other people have pitched Wild Wild East, which is the boys have to go to Asia to fight a giant mechanical dragon.
I can genuinely see that, yeah.
Definitely makes sense. Jim Pearson says West and Wild.
West? Oh, like West and Wild, yeah.
Joel Robinson, just 2 hours of Will Smith apologising for the weird anti-disabled stuff in the first one, while feeling a fake boob filled with ball bearings, screaming, "Is this what you wanted to see? I could have been Neo."
Oh yeah, because he turned down the Matrix for this. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Although I would say yes, there is definitely ableist humor in this movie, but compared to the racism, I wouldn't make Will Smith apologize for this movie. I would apologize to Will Smith for making him endure that.
Yeah. Will Token says Itsy Bitsy. Abandoned by its creator in the desert, a lone mechanical spider is befriended by a young boy and ultimately makes a heartbreaking sacrifice.
Oh dear. I picked up where that was going very quickly. I did not like it. I did not care for it.
Jamie Davis says, the exciting East. Will Smith tries to be a cowboy in Japan, and it could be terrible and offensive, but also could be Cowboy Bebop.
Okay, yeah. It probably would be all of those things.
Yeah. Sean Joseph Lamper says, I don't know, but at the end of the movie, both their sons fly off to take the fight to the aliens on their planet, and a third movie will never be made.
Sure.
Which is how Independence Day 2 finishes.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, that makes sense.
We will get to that.
We'll get to
in
that.
the bonus episode.
Yeah.
Nicole D says, keep it simple, just make it Wild, Wild, Wild West. The plot revolves around even more boob and butt jokes. General McGrath is back, and this time, all the women have his mother's name.
Great, I have some as well. Christy Kilgore said, Wilder, Wilder, Wester.
Uh-huh.
Matthew Collins said, Child West. The original movie, but in the style of Bugsy Malone, replace all the actors with child lookalikes.
Okay.
I can see that.
Yeah.
It definitely has that vibe.
Yeah.
Maybe strip back some of the racism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Mm-hmm.
And the raping. And
the raping, yeah.
Yeah.
Travis Green said, Kenneth Branagh is back, but he's just ahead. Like a brain in a jar.
Sure.
Chris Lutman said, Too Wild, Too West. It's about clones.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise, it's Gemini Man in the 1800s.
Okay.
Yeah. Andrew Liefering said, Wild, Wild, Blessed, Back in the Habit.
Great.
Yeah. Jacob Hill said, Wiki, Wiki, War Crimes. Russell Ford said, a shot-for-shot remake, but with the Muppets. Which I'm fully on board with.
Of course you bloody are.
Fully on board with that, yeah. Matt Hanley said, Wild Vest. It's a Transylvania Dracula movie. Daniel Cheng said, Steampunk Robot Centipede.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's, rather than robots, it's like the human centipede.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that movie?
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, I think you mean steampunk robot centipede as opposed to steampunk robot spider. Just
yes, but I think
make it a different animal.
He's added centipede because that was a movie as well.
Is he making it the human centipede, or are you making it that?
No, I think he's making it that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Whatever's on your mind, John, it's fine.
It is, yeah. Susie Bounsgaard said, Mild Pest, Reflections on the Life of an Exterminator.
Okay, yeah.
Dan Peterman said, Wild Weast. Will Smith drops out and is replaced by esteemed character actress Diane Wiest.
Mm-hmm.
Laura Caputo said, Sad Soiled South. Over on Twitter, our old friend Martin Gardner at MG Loves Fun said, This is an awesome movie. Just put this in my Amazon Prime watch list yesterday, just because it was there. Yes, I like this, and I know it won a Razzie, but I like it anyway. So, I have a slightly defensive comment from Martin, but
yeah, very.
The takeaway is he likes that movie. Blokebusters at Blokebusters said, I really enjoyed this film. It's stupid, an insane product of its time, and had a brilliant line reading from Kevin Klein, and now we have to run. My sequel idea is Wilder West, the same film, but somehow the main characters are played by Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor.
All right.
So, yeah. Gene Wilder being the guy who played Willy Wonka, and Richard Pryor being dead. But whatever. False Starts Podcast at False Starts Pod said, for a sequel, they're obviously going to utilise their giant robot spider to destroy a bunch of giant robot flies that are destroying towns all over the Wild Wild West, while in drag for the whole movie.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Paul Salt at Paul Salt 6 said, just make sure you start the film with them still riding the giant spider. Anything that follows that will be worth it for that baffling opening.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep.
So thank you everybody for those sequel ideas. We ask for your listener submissions every week, a few days before we record, by putting posts out on Facebook and Twitter where you can post your ideas. So make sure you like and follow our pages if you don't want to miss out.
Mm-hmm.
To listen to more episodes of Beyond the Box Set, you can subscribe and browse our back catalogue on any podcasting platform, including iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and many others, all of which you can also leave a 5-star review if you like. It really helps us to attract new listeners, so please do consider doing that. We're also available on Patreon, which is exclusively for the people who would rate us more than 5 stars if they could. You can find all those relevant links in the description below or at beyondtheboxset.com.
Okay, so what are we doing next week then?
So, next week, Harry, we've just spent a very long time talking about a very bad massive, notorious flop of Will Smith's career. So I think next week we should go the other way and talk about a film that was actually very successful.
Okay.
So next week we are going to discuss a rare Will Smith film that was a huge hit but did not so far spawn any kind of franchise.
Okay.
A rare rom-com, his only rom-com, I believe.
I know where this is going.
Yep. Next week, you and I are going to be discussing the classic romantic comedy, Hitch.
This is going to be something else.
It's going to be something.
Brilliant.
Great.
All right, well, thanks everybody, and join us next week for Hitch.
Cool. See you later.
See you later. Bye.
Hands!